all the stuff that goes on up there. And I think that yoga, it could be a really important part. We're especially noticing a lot of kind of back and neck kind of interesting things. We get taller, shorter, not just by going up, but then we exercise and we're in a harness and we're swished down, so we're actually kind of doing that accordion thing every day. And so we're actually searching for ways to do better core exercise up there, maybe next year's challenge. Somebody else? Yes?
I was curious, how much decompression time do you need after your return to Earth?
How much decompression time do you need when you return to Earth? And you can ask Ron, Karen, Matt, and Richard as well. It's been 4 years now. I'm still working on it, but I think that the end is in sight. Yeah, well, but seriously, I think it's an experience that it takes a long time to come back from, and in some ways you never. I was up there for 6 months. Okay. Yeah, I was up there for 6 months. We sort of have a myth of the 6-month mission in that you actually leave your home 7 weeks before the 6 months starts. That would be adding 2 months in my sort of family clock anyway. And then there's about a month of, there's certainly more than a month of serious rehab when you get back, and a lot of data takes and experiments. Okay, so now we're actually going to start.
Okay, so we're back on. Right? Yes. Okay. So hi, my name is Gabe Perez-Giz. I'm a physicist by training. I'll be emceeing the rest of the show today, and we're going to begin with a keynote address by Katie Coleman, who I think you've already heard about a lot during the press conference. She's flown millions of orbital miles and thousands of hours on the ISS and on the space shuttle. She plays the flute in an astronaut band, all kinds of other cool stuff. A lot of which you can ask her about during the Q&A, but without further ado, Katie Coleman.
I'm just going to show you a little bit about life on the space station, partly because I wish I was still there. I was up there in 2010, 2011. The last part of my mission, Ron Guerin, who's also running around here today, he was on the same crew, so you'll see his name on my patch as well, or my name on his patch, as he likes to say. And this was our home, and I just want to show you enough of what it was like up there to have you thinking, because you're problem-solving, fascinating people, to have you understand a little bit about our world so that you can help us with it, and so it can make you think about life here on Earth as well. Next page. The space station is actually very big. You shouldn't feel small for us. It's sorry for us that we're a really tiny little place, because it's huge. It's like 8 train cars all put together without the seats. It's just some of them are up or down or sideways. And it's a wonderful place. The whole no gravity thing, the best part is that you fly from place to place. And I loved that. Next. I launched from Baikonur in a Russian Soyuz in December of 2010. Next. We docked with the International Space Station. That is our Soyuz. It's about the size of 2 VW bugs, where one, the first end that actually docks to the space station is one part is kind of like a little orbital living room, and then the part that we have the 3 seats where we do actually sit very, very close. And for people who are taller than I am, like Richard Garriott, who also made his way to space, you have 3 astronauts here today. It's a pretty small, tight place to be, but we only spend, actually it's less time than when Richard and I went. So when Richard and I went, we launched. It takes 8.5 minutes to get to space, and then you spend about a day and a half kind of getting everything set and making sure everybody feels great, and just figuring everything out. And then you dock with the space station. But now they dock with the space station about 6 hours later. And even though that's really nice to be able to get up to the big volume, have a nice bathroom, all those kinds of things, I really treasured that day and a half of 3 people who got to really actually have a little time to think about what they were about to go and do. And while they were thinking about it, you are orbiting the Earth in a very tiny little spacecraft, just you, not some big space shuttle that's like the size of an airplane, just you in your planet, in your spacecraft, and I love that. Next. This is Dmitry Kondratyev in the middle, and Paolo Nespoli, my crewmates. So we go up in 3s. Ron Guerin is not in this picture, I told you I was in space with him, is because I went up with these 3 people. 3 people were there. We make 6. That's patch number 1. And then when 3 people come back, 3 people come home and 3 more go up. That was Ron and his crew. And that's how we form sort of combinations of 6. Next. That's good. So those are our 2 patches from our 2 missions. And I think that your teams here as a hackathon are very similar to being on a space crew, where, in some ways you pick your teams, but in some ways you don't, where there's maybe somebody standing there and then they say, I really think I should be on your team, and then you have them, and it's kind of like the teams that we have. We don't pick them, but for our mission, which is important, then we are a team, and we have to figure out how to get the best out of everyone on the team. These are some of the exercises that we do ahead of time, practicing in the simulators, for the small spacecraft, for the space suit. Space suit weighs about 300 pounds, so we practice in a pool. But now it's launch night, and we are doing the final preparations, some really wonderful traditions by the Russians. I'm waving to my son, who looks very small there, but is now taller than I am, and I think in the Minecraft room as we speak. And we report in. I begged the guys to take small steps, and maybe slowly, but they kind of forgot. We were all a little nervous. Climb into this little bitty, actually the smallest elevator imaginable, and then the little bitty rocket. We are in the very top part of that, which is the like little triangle kind of part, not the tiny spiky long stick, but the part right underneath that. And every time I've done this, which is 3, there is something just viscerally clear to you that leaving the planet is a really hard thing to do. A lot of things have to go right. Those things are all things that scientists and engineers have designed. This is us up in space. This is my favorite scene in the movie, where, it is flying from place to place. Don't you miss that, Richard?
Absolutely.
And speaking of flying, so we were in the beginning of the supply ship business. This is a Japanese supply ship. I was the second person to reach out using the controls of the robotic arm and capture a supply ship, which is the size of a school bus. I had very good space hair, as you noticed. All of us would have good, Ron had good space hair too, but mine was better. This is another supply ship docking. So we had a lot of different missions coming. I'm going to show you some pictures from supply ships in just a few minutes. This is the sort of new NASA, where we have taken the things that we know how to do, which is bringing stuff up and down space, low Earth orbit, our space station, and bringing people up and down to space. This is a visit from the space shuttle. And so you're looking at the tiny thing in the middle is the space shuttle, and that is us on the space station. We are taking pictures of them. They are taking pictures of us. It's not just all for Instagram. Part of it is a formal documenting of the heat shield on the shuttle. It was probably the most nervous I was the entire mission, in that you have to take hundreds of photographs in quick succession, all in focus. And if you don't, then we have to take extra time when the space shuttle is docked to the space station to do those photographs. It's really, really difficult to do. And so what did I do? I practiced. That's what we do for the hard things. We practice, 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 and then you have to leave that nervousness behind, because you've done everything you can to be prepared. So there's the space shuttle docked. Our crewmates are coming aboard. Steve Lindsay, my friend Nicole. Nicole Stott was the first person to capture a supply ship. And they brought up a big giant piece of the space station. And this shows you how wild everything behaves in space, including power cords. And this is our robonaut. Paolo and I unpacked him. He's our assistant up there. We're learning, what can humans and robots do? The robot is the one on the left. Now, in that picture, Scott Kelly is on board the space station again. Richard and Ron and I, who are here with you today, are insanely jealous that he is already back there. And that it's a magical place. It's a place where I felt privileged to be one of 6 humans that were there. And I just think there's a lot of really good work to do there. And yet, look at just all the detail in that picture. Look at the kitchen table at an angle, and I'm doing some liquids experiments here. I mean, there's so many different things all over the space station. Most of them are not optimally designed, and that's where we could use your help to make our life simpler so that we can do the important work that can't be done on the ground. Next. So this is our crew, and again, Scott on the right there is up in space again. He's part of a very important mission, the year-long mission, where he is going to be up there for a year to help understand the effects on the human body up in space. He has a twin brother here on the ground, and he will be sort of a ground test. We also do before space, during space, and after space tests. Many, many, many tests. I myself, every time I would do a data ticket, typically would be 20-something tubes of blood that they're taking to test all sorts of different studies that we're doing, many of which help you right back down here on Earth. Next. Spacewalks is maybe what you think of up there that we're doing, and we do them when necessary. Unfortunately, we were very chagrined that there was no emergency spacewalks on our mission. In fact, one night an alarm rang in the middle of the night, and we all, come out of our little cabins. It's like phone booth size places. 4 of us sleep at one end of the station, 2 at the other end. We meet in the middle at the main computer, and Scott was the commander at the time. He looks at